We have just run into a patch of very heavy rain and the truck has slowed down cautiously in response. I put down my reading material and focus on the rapidly deteriorating weather situation. Bruce has decided to take some obscure secondary route back into Pine Bluff in order to avoid the usual rush of traffic that is all the more dangerous in these road conditions. We end up deep in farm country. Vast fields are stretched out on either side of the two-lane highway while running water floods the ditches, spilling out over the road. If I listen closely and carefully against the noise, I can hear Bruce telling stories about the things that have happened on this stretch of farmland over the years. I really don't know where we are. The intensity of the rain just went up 2 more notches. The sound of the drops pounding against the roof finally drowns out the conversations coming from the front seat. Lightning shocks my eyesight and thunder cracks immediately behind it. Mighty sheets of gray rain are obscuring visibility and we are slowing to a near stop now. I see a pair of headlights easing up cautiously behind us. I hope they know we're here and they have the good sense to keep their distance. I can feel the wind pushing hard against the side of the truck and the rain is being swept across the road in weird little waves. Hear that? I can hear some small hail pelting the metal of the truck and smacking against the windshield. Little balls of white ice are bouncing in the puddles and on the blacktop. It's like an angry crowd is tossing miniature mothballs at us. Another lightning bolt jitters brightly towards the distant tree line where it dances and plays itself out. Loud thunder erupts after it. We splash through another small river flowing vigorously across the road from one ditch to another. Wind rocks the body of the vehicle, pushing a wall of rain along with it. I notice that a shy trickle of water has slipped into the truck from around the side glass. I squint out at the noisy white curtain and scan the sky for any sign of a tornado dragging itself across the fields or whipping like an elephant trunk through the air. This is a genuine concern at this point and a factor that could certainly spell our doom. Thankfully, mere moments later, the storm begins to ease. The torrent of rain and hail turns rapidly into a mere shower and the sky begins to brighten quickly and noticeably. Dwindling raindrops trickle down the rear glass and the noise of the storm is replaced by the steady sound of the truck engine. Lightning flickers in the distance, skipping from one cloud to another. We begin to speed up to a rate normal for the flooded road conditions. I stare out the glass just as the sun breaks through the edge of a thunderhead and brightens the entire world for just a moment. I think about Carla. Then I think about Karen. I get the feeling that destiny is spinning into some peculiar patterns all around me. I feel like something big is going to happen. I don't know what. I just have a feeling. I don't know whom it will involve and I don't know where it will lead me. But something is going to happen. Regardless of what it is, I just want to go home and play now. It is nearly dark by the time we make it back. I hurriedly help to offload the target bags from the truck and rush, with all deliberate speed, into the main bedroom and hook up my Intellivision to the black and white television. I slam the Treasure of Tarman cartridge into the side slot of the Intellivision base brain and briefly review the massive controller manipulation instructions on the overlay. Castle map: count, food count, arrows, pick up, order, swap, hands, rotate, pack, open, use, swap, pack, attack, rest, use, ladder, glance left, glance right, retreat, retrace. Somehow I'm going to have to memorize all of that if I'm ever going to get good at this game. I put the game on level 1 and a castle map with a very limited amount of dungeon below it quickly greets me. The higher the level you start with, the more dungeons are down there. Starting at level 1, you have the dungeon equivalent of a cluttered basement. I enter the castle with the sound of a deep whoosh, and inside I find a 3D environment filled with rooms and doors and walls. Wandering around the maze, I encounter things such as money belts, bags and boxes, packs and treasure chests. These containers hold coins, jewels, potions, useful items and even deadly bombs. I also encounter monsters. The main bad guy of the game is a Minotaur. If you kill him and open the treasure chest that he leaves behind, you will win the game. Before meeting the Minotaur, you have to contend with an abundance of giant ants, giant scorpions, giant snakes, alligators, dragons, cloaked skeletons, nude skeletons, hooded ghouls, and evil magical doors. When you are killed in the game, you let out a horrible little electronic scream and the screen returns to the castle map with a flashing tombstone to mark the spot of your demise. After an hour or so of adventuring, I shut down the Intellivision and hook up the VIC-20 so that I can try out my other stuff. Jupiter Lander involves landing a lunar-type vehicle onto various safe spots on the craggy surface of Jupiter. I use the keyboard to control the movement, thrust and brakes of the craft. Vic Avenger is a good version of Space Invaders. The lines of invaders are wider and perform smooth shifts down when they reach the right side of the screen. It just looks better than the Atari 2600 version I'm so familiar with. Raid on Fort Knox reminds me of what I've seen of Intellivision's Lock and Chase when I played it at Kmart on their demonstration setup in the electronics department. And then there's Omega Race. This is a near-perfect translation of the arcade game. That's not such a big accomplishment since the game is made up of just a few lines and a lot of black screen. I plug in my Atari 2600 paddle controllers into the back of the VIC-20 and turn the television contrast way up and the brightness way down. Simple black and white games such as Omega Race and Asteroids work best with those television settings. The night has grown old without my even realizing it. When I finally do go to bed, electronic sounds and image patterns continue to play repeatedly through my mind. Sleep, when it finally comes, is not particularly restful.